Right, let's turn that down. Right guys, Tel from TH Trees. It's actually a lovely morning, the sun is up, it's actually seriously bright, it's melting all the snow so we can get back to work and get things back on track. I'm going to talk about one-handed chainsaw use. It's come up, it always comes up. It is almost as bad as Stihl versus Husky. Is it safe? Well, is climbing a tree safe? Not really, but you can mitigate the risks. Same with using a saw one-handed. Admittedly, when you've got two hands on a saw, you've technically got 100% of control on the saw. Although you never have 100%, but let's go with two hands, 50% each hand. So you take one hand off the saw and you one-hand the saw. That means you've only got 50% control over the saw as opposed to what you had with two hands. So, obviously it's a lot more dangerous than using two hands, but in some circumstances it is a lot safer than trying to get yourself in a position that you would need to always have two hands on a saw. Sometimes you can really damage your back, your spine, your abdomen area, your knees, your ankles, trying to get into that position so you can have two hands on the saw. So sometimes one-handed use is required, is necessary, and it's not illegal, contrary to some test pilots who say that it is. It shouldn't be used in replacement of proper positioning and two hands on the saw. So you shouldn't use it just because you can. You should use it because it's a better option than using two hands, and that should only be in certain circumstances that you should already be well aware of. I think really that covers one-handed chainsaw use. I mean, I went onto the AFAG site just to double check health and safety to make sure I'm not just saying something that's technically wrong, or I like to give as good advice as I can. AFAG says you should always have two hands on a saw wherever possible. So the wording says it itself. It doesn't say it is illegal, you cannot, you must not. It says wherever possible you should use two hands on a saw, which makes sense. It says should you use one-handed, should you use a chainsaw with one hand? I'll have to pause. Yeah, so AFAG also states that wherever possible, when you are using a saw one-handed, you should do it at the extremities of limbs, and you should keep it at the, have your arm fully extended away from your body. You shouldn't be doing it anywhere near your body. So you cut when you're away from your body. I would add, always cut with a firm grip on the saw and make sure you're well out of the kickback zone. And when you are one-handed, always make sure you're ready for a slip and you know what you're going to do when you slip. Program it into your brain. If you slip, there's a procedure you follow with your saw, as in get it away from your body, and also make sure when you get it away, it doesn't swing back into you. As soon as you slip, you should instantly have the habit of clicking that chain brake as quick as you can. I mean, with one hand, it's going to be hard work, admittedly. So that's why you position yourself and you only use it in certain circumstances. I do use a saw one-handed where it's necessary. I do make sure I'm very safe. I like to go home still looking pretty. It's nothing to do with safety, it's to do with, well, it's all to do with safety, but it's to do with my own personal safety, not what I'm being told to do. I naturally know the difference between something that's stupid and something that's not. This one will kick up a storm as one-handed use always does, but you can use a saw one-handed. Just be sensible with it. You should have common sense, but a lot don't. So when you've got 50% less control of something, you've got to allow a lot more control measures to protect yourself. When you're dealing with a goat, you got to sort of you can pet it. You only need a little wire fence, and it contains the goat. When you're dealing with a tiger, you need some big metal fencing that's a lot thicker. So same analogy. Two hands on the saw, it's a little goat. One hand on the saw, you're dealing with a beast, you're dealing with a tiger. Treat it with respect, treat it as such, because it will bite you if you get it wrong.
In a quarter of a mile, left turn.
I'll leave that there before my sat nav starts talking to me too much. Yeah, hopefully that one helps. Thanks for watching.